So first and foremost, I'd like to welcome everybody to today's webinar presentation on behalf of the Tickblaze Marketplace. My name is Sean Kozak. I'm the CEO of Tickblaze and the NeuroStreet ecosystem, and I have been waiting for this webinar since 2023. Let me explain something to you guys, okay? Back in 2015, 2016, I started building Orderflow software signal suites for other platforms. And through the evolution of, I don't know, close to 10 years, we've really learned a lot about Orderflow. So much that we've pioneered multiple different products in different infrastructures on different platforms. We've built footprint charts. We've built Orderflow signal software. We've built Orderflow sound software. We've then built Orderflow algorithms. I am here to tell you that there's very few people that you can say are an expert at something. We are experts at Orderflow. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to show you the all-new Orderflow signal pack, because this is the official launch of the product inside of the Tickblaze platform. Now, why is this so exciting? Because this isn't just some Orderflow tool. This is an entire signal pack. And what this means is that we've taken literally every single Orderflow product we've made, every single algorithm we've made for Orderflow and time and sales and footprint and just market internal data, and we built the most comprehensive signal software and Orderflow software that we could build, right? And this is a collective sum of 15 years, 10 years of my career, but there's a lot of people in the team that have been doing this for a lot longer than me. And we are so excited because the number one problem traders have, and this is a fact, is they don't know what's going on behind the bars. Like when you look at a chart, there's always this level of question that is, what's going on inside the bars? What's going on inside the data? And I've always been a big believer that if you can stack the chips in your favor with data, and you can look inside the information, you are basically 10 steps ahead of the entire universe who's trading blindfolded. Now, why is this important? Because we wanted to build something that no one else has done. We also wanted to include some of the advanced stuff that we've done on the algorithm side with Orderflow, and we're going to basically launch this here today, okay? Now, couple groundkeeping rules. Need you guys to read the disclaimer. We're talking about trading. Not here to give you advice or tell you what to do with your money or buy or sell signals. My trading results, our instructors' trading results are not typical of what everybody else does, right? We have experience. So if you are taking trades in the market, please do so at your own discretion. Also, please type a Y in the chat box that you guys agree to this disclaimer so we can move forward like professionals. Now, on top of that, we are recording this event. My team is here to answer questions. If I don't answer your questions, not because I'm ignoring you. I got a lot to talk about, baby. This is a big event. We got lots to rock and roll here, and time is money, and we want to get through this in a timely fashion. So I'm going to reserve the Q&A to the end of the presentation. You will want to stick around to the end of the event. We have a massive launch discount for this because it is probably, well, from our own internal data, we've seen more people in the industry use Orderflow than any other product in the world. So this is a huge release, and we're going to basically make sure you guys get the best deal. So stick around to the end so you guys have access to that. Okay. So tell me who's excited. Yes or no. Tell me if you're excited for what's coming. Okay. I'm excited. It's a big one. So if we're trading striker levels, if we're trading trend breaker setups, if we're trading certs, if we're trading one and done, if we're trading any freaking strategy that you are trading, if you are not using Orderflow to understand what's going on behind the bars, you don't understand what's actually going on in the market. Okay. Now, if every time you got to a level of resistance or support and you had an inside view of what's going on, okay, then you are at a powerful place compared to everybody else. So if we're going to look at areas of interest, if we're going to look at pullbacks, if we're going to look at a trend line break setup, if we're going to look at anything, an opening range breakout, I want to be able to have another level of probability that is going to make every single one of my trades more evident so that I'm not sitting there hoping that it has the potential to give me movement for profits. Data will show you that. Order flow data will tell you the story. You'll also know when the trade is going against you because the data will tell you, and you could bail or you could take your profit sooner or you could move to break even. Using order flow is not just a strategy, it is a lifeboat to everything you do. And we're going to talk about this today because if you're trading without being able to confirm the data, then there is a level of guessing that we're still doing. Even myself, if I'm taking trades on a 5-minute chart or a 1-minute chart, or even using a range bar or a Renko, if I don't have order flow, I don't actually know what's going on inside the data. And so this is a privilege because we didn't have this in Tickblaze until now. We spent the last 6 months building this. And we took our time because we wanted to add literally every single feature that was possibly capable of going into the tool set. Okay. Now, every trader dreams of being able to time their entries perfect. It is actually part of the strategy that if you're going to be good at execution, you want to be able to time your entries. A lot of traders don't understand what's going on in the market, right? If you're watching the charts and you see the price going up and down and you see a candle pattern and you see some wicks and some bodies and whatever, there's a lot of chaos to that. And until you become literally a Jedi of the market, there's going to be times where you're going to probably say, I need clarity. Like sometimes I just wish it was easier to make sense of what I'm actually reading. And on top of that, for me, I want to have more confidence. So if I'm going to take a trade, I truly want to have more confidence when I'm pulling the trigger, but more so when I'm managing the trade. It's not so much getting in. Everybody can hit the buy or sell button. Like any monkey can hit the mouse. Like that's a given. But when the market's doing things intra-trade, and you have the ability to say, oh, wait a second, I'm going to let this one run. I can see that we have the reason to do so. Or wait, I'm going to move to break even. I have reason that this is going to go against me. That is very, 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 very important because you're now becoming a better risk manager and you're no longer second guessing. And at the end of the day, what it does is it gives you alpha. And everybody in here, including myself, wants to increase their alpha because we need to have a better perspective of what we're doing. Every single day is different. Every single level is different. Every single time you take a trade is different. Maybe the same strategy, but the data is going to be different. Okay. Now, when we built the system, okay, we built this so that we could create signals that could track what a lot of the other order flow tool sets do not. And if you just look at basic footprint charts or basic resources, in my experience, a lot of people get overwhelmed with order flow. How many of you guys have ever felt overwhelmed with order flow? You didn't know how to understand it. Maybe sometimes you were questioning, oh, I don't really understand how to read this, right? Why is this doing this? Like, it's not always meant for the faint of heart, right? And when we built this, we did it in a way where we remove all of the heavy lifting so that you understand what each of the signals are telling you. And we're going to be able to track stuff that you didn't even know was trackable inside of the print. We're going to be able to track when the market's being absorbed. We're going to track when the market is basically giving you reversals. We're going to be able to track when the market's giving you aggression. We're going to show you when to stack the signals. I can't wait to show you what stack signals mean. Stack signals is when we have multiple things in the order flow lining up for like the best of the best trades. Heck, I took a couple of these right after the trading room today, and it was just really, really, really great trades. And so we're going to talk about this and we're going to go in this. But the key here is turnkey. All you need to do is load it. You click a button, it turn it on, and it does all the work for you. Okay. And why is this important? Because you actually can't do this. One of the biggest things that I always said, it's kind of goes back to just life, right? If you're going to buy something, You should be buying something that is going to improve the quality of whatever experience you're trying to accomplish. And in trading, if you're trying to accomplish this, it's physically and mentally impossible. There is no way that you can extract the data from the time and sales and the inventory and the depth of book and then put it onto your chart. It's not meant for humans. There's certain tools that humans can do manually without the use of indicators. And then there's certain tools that you just can't do manually. And this is one that it's impossible for you or me or everybody in here to do manually. It's not, you need a computer to do this. So this is why we get a chance to build what's not humanly possible. If you're going to invest in tools to make your business better, you want to make sure you're leveraging those resources to the right expenses and the right choices. Now, most traders are getting run over. Okay. Let me ask you a question. How many times have you got in on a limit order? This is true. Okay. Let me explain this for a second. How many of you have had a level of support? The market's coming down. You put a buy limit order in here and it just goes whoop. Tell me this. How many of you guys have had that happen to you? Or if it's a resistance level and you're like, oh, I'm going to short it. And it just goes whoop right through it. And it takes you, your emotions, your anger, your frustration, all of your stop loss and everything with it. If you're using order flow, that can be prevented. Order flow will tell you when and not to take that trade. It's not just about entering, it's also about not entering, which is actually more important than getting into the trade, because more people will fail. People will take 10 losses before they'll take 10 wins. And if you can cut those losses down drastically because order flow tells you, hey, Mr. Trader, don't take this trade. There's a reason not to. That's worth its weight in gold. Now, you're going to find sometimes that the market's just going to do random things. It's going to blow through an area where you're like, that's supposed to be holding, or you're going to see it just sweeping stop losses and you don't really understand. Order flow is going to show you the picture so that you're not sitting here like, well, what just happened? Okay. And the goal is to be able to provide you signals without you having to interpret the data. So what we do with the order flow signal pack is we're going to be able to take this information and we're going to turn it into signals so that all you need to do is understand what the signals are telling you. And why we did it like this is because nobody can actually understand order flow. Like even the best order flow traders have a hard time understanding it. So what we did was we created signals. So I called the order flow signal pack so that we can literally take the data and just put a really good buy or sell signal. Okay. And then basically you just understand the signals. Okay. And then that way it's plug and play. How many of you guys think that that makes a lot more sense? Rather than you having to be a master's degree in order flow, you just need to take the software and understand the signal. Like there's about 7 or 8 signals and we're going to turn them on and I'm going to show you what to look for. And all you need to do is identify support or resistance, EMAs, wherever you want to trade, and then wait for the signals. That's all you need to do. Now there's some advanced stuff we'll get into with volume and all of the different really, really cool stuff. But the signals are where you can really start making a lot of money really quickly. And then you can really spend time learning the rest of it when you have time. Now, reading the tape is chaos. If you're trying to read the dome, the depth of market, and you're trying to read the time and sales, okay, you're not going to be able to do this. I can't do it. And I'm an expert at trading, right? I know guys that have been trading longer than me, they can't do it. It moves too quickly. You're not physically capable of interpreting the dome with a high degree of accuracy. People cannot analyze the time and sales accurately. So what we do is we ultimately extract the data and we turn it into signals so that all you need to understand is how to read the actual price charts that we're doing all of the analysis on. Now, Why is this important? Because we wanted to take really complicated analysis, which is actually the most important analysis, and then make it foolproof, meaning you don't have to learn how to do the complicated stuff. You let the software do it for you. Now, we have a bunch of different signals, and we're going to talk about this for a second, okay? This one, we're going to spend a lot of time talking here. Just give me a second. We're going to spend a lot of time on this one, okay? We have volume divergence signals. This is very, 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 very powerful trade signals. It's when price and volume are diverging from each other. We have trap trader signals. Some of you may know what this is. This is exhaustion in the tape. We have delta divergence, when price and delta and price and order flow are going in different directions. This is proprietary to us, just like this. I'm going to put a P beside the proprietary tools to us. We're going to put a P beside stuff that's proprietary to us. Nobody else has this. Okay. These are also ours. Okay. These two are very common in order flow software. If you go and look at all the other order flow tool sets, order flow platforms in the world, you're going to see trap traders and delta divergence. They're very, very good signals, but there's nothing fancy to them, right? So I'm not going to hear and talk about stuff that, in my opinion, it's they're great, but wow, okay, they're there if you want them, so to speak. What I really care about is looking at the stuff that nobody else is paying attention to. And freezing the tape, we're going to leave this to the end because it's the grand finale. Volume divergence is really, really powerful. We're going to get into these signals in just a minute, but it's when, let's say we have a price candle, okay, and a wick, and all the volume gets stuck inside of a certain location. What this means is the volume stayed down here, but price moved all the way up here. Two things can be done with a trade like this. You can buy at the close of this bar, or you can enter on a retest of that volume, which will be most likely unfinished auctions or areas in which the market's going to come back to retest that volume. Why? Because the volume was so heavy, it stayed there, but price could not stay there. These are really, really, really killer signals. Flush reversals. Okay. This is another word for absorption. How many of you guys have ever heard of the word for absorption before? Okay. We're going to go into these and we're going to actually talk about them. Absorption, okay, is when the market is going down, 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 and it just stops, and it just stops, and then it goes like this. You're going to see absorption coming in here, and you're going to see a rotation, and I really love the flush reversals. Like, flush reversals are, wow, man, because what's happening is you're going to see that on limit order entries, not on market orders. You're going to see a lot of limit order entries that you wouldn't normally see in the order book on flush reversals. Now, the confluence signals that we've built are reading the diagram box. And what we're doing is we're looking at when all of this is chaos, okay, when all of the data is chaos, which it normally is, and then it just goes into a state of confluence. When everything lines up for a buy, and then when I mean this, I mean delta, state, absorption, bid and ask, cumulative volume, like it's just everything is lining up, and then you get massive trades. If all you ever did was trade confluence, I promise you, your business would change for the rest of your life. Like, it is so powerful that we built algos around the confluence signal, and it is the most easiest, most consistent momentum trade you can actually trade with order flow. How many of you guys would like for us to teach you just the confluence momentum trades? I promise you in the AMAs, we're going to teach you the confluence trades because anybody is going to be able to trade and make big, big money on confluence trades. Like, it is so fun to trade that because when it happens, you just know the entire market is on your side. Like, that is a gift. When everything just says, whoa, time to buy, everything. The data just shoots you a signal that says, hey, Mr. Trader, it's time to buy. Why? Because everything tells you it should be buying. That is a gift. Now, big money print is proprietary to us because this is when what we do, and this is really sexy, is let's say we've got a price candle, and let's say we're tracking, I don't know, 50 candles. We got candles, we got candles, we got candles, we got candles, right? We got candles all over the place, okay? We get to a candle which we're looking at, right? Inside of every bar, we have bid and ask, and we've got buyers and sellers. What we're doing with the big money print is we're actually taking a snapshot of all of the buyers on the bid and all of the sellers on the ask. And we basically create a baseline so that whenever institutions step in, we can say, oh, big money stepping in here. Because sometimes you'll get retail step in with a lot of volume and you'll get some aggression come into the market. There's a big difference between big money and retail. And what we can do is we can turn that on in the volume graphs, and you're going to see that inside the volume graphs. And then the heat map is proprietary to us. And this is where you actually have abnormal volume and abnormal delta working together to create the signals. Now, this stuff together, we basically had all of these in different tools on other platforms. We didn't actually put it all together in one indicator or algo. It was literally some products had one, some products had the other, some products didn't have any of it. And then what we did was we built what we'd like to think as the most powerful order flow algo in the business. And we create what we call freeze the tape. Now, freeze the tape is proprietary to our logic. And what it means is when you have a candle that is basically going up and down, up and down, up and down. How many of you guys have ever heard of stacked imbalances before, where you actually see a bunch of orders on the bid or on the ask and they all stack up, right? Everybody looks at those as like supply or demand levels, yes? Well, what happens is you'll get those happening inside the bar, and then all of a sudden they'll just disappear. And then all of a sudden they'll come back. And then all of a sudden they'll just disappears. Okay. And then all of a sudden they come back. What ends up happening, and most people don't realize, that when the bar closes up here, and this creates a stacked imbalance zone or something like this, everybody in the world can see this. And what people don't realize that the really good trade was when it happened down here and then the candle pushed all the way up, that was the best trade, not when it comes back down and runs the stops. We can freeze the order flow. We have the ability to freeze the order flow so that you can actually stop the time and sales inside the candle. Nobody in the world's ever done this. This is proprietary to us. We can freeze the order flow in real time so you can trade intra-bar order flow signals without having to wait to the end of the bar closes like everything else in the business. Now, this is what we call cutting edge, and we're going to get into this. Okay. Now, when we do the full order flow, when we do all of this, okay, we also have complete footprint charts, complete bar volume profile charts. We'll be able to provide you with unfinished auctions, which we're going to talk about here. And when I do the demo, we're going to do a massive demo today. Don't worry, guys. We're just going to do a massive overview, and then we're going to go into the charts. But the lower grid is really, really unique. And why? Because we create what we call a state column. And a state column looks at confluence in all of the data, and it aligns with the delta and price. So we actually have all of this inside of a panel for you to actually have. Plus, we also have heat maps that can be plotted here, which we're going to show you here on the chart in just a moment. We have heat maps that come in, and you can see the heat map down here, these colors, and we're going to talk about what those are. You can see here, if you take a look, you've got red candles, but you got a green heat map. It tells you when the state is not in confluence. It tells you the market is confused. And we're going to get into this in just a minute, okay? Now, I know I've talked about a lot, and I wanted to go through this rather fast because what I want to do is I want to go into the details. Okay, I want to go into the actual demo. I want to talk a little bit about this. I want to go into the actual weeds. How many of you guys understood a portion of what I was talking about? Right? I know PowerPoints never do the justice. The charts are going to tell the story. How many of you here didn't? Type a no if you didn't, because that way I know that you're new, and I totally love that because we can help all the newbies in here. Everybody's got to learn somewhere. We all started somewhere, right? Most of you are saying yes, that's great, which means you've got some order flow experience. That's great. If you're saying no, don't worry, Lance, we got your back. Steven says no, we got your back. Great. Joseph says no. Hey, we are here to help you, and this is going to change the way you look at the market. So let's do this, and let's get into this. Okay. Tell me that's not sexy. For all of you that remember the evolution of Tickblaze and how it was when we acquired the technology and we brought this to the marketplace, we've evolved everything to the point of no return. Like the actual order flow aspect of what we've done in Tickblaze is just incredible, right? And let's talk about this for a sec. Yes, it is better. I'm not going to start sitting there talk about other platforms. I don't do that, guys. I'm very ethical. I have a lot of respect for all of the people out there that build technology. I just like the way we approach software development, okay? So that way you understand why we build the things we build, okay? Now, I have level 2 turned on with my data feed. In order for me to have level 2 turned on in my data feed, you will need a level 2 version. You do not need level 2 for this software. The only thing that level 2 requires is to be able to see the dome, which gives you 10 levels deep on the inventory, which is this, okay? So let me explain something. Our software takes this and puts it directly to the hard right edge so you can actually see the inventory in the market. If you don't want the inventory and you don't feel you want to look at level 2, then all you need to do is come in here and turn level 2 off. We'll just turn the inventory off. It's really a choice. People sometimes like looking at the depth of book. Some people don't want it. It really depends. Okay. But let me explain how this works. Okay. Orders are going to be put limit above and below price. Okay. That's called the depth of book or the order book. Does everybody understand this? I want to make sure that everybody understands this is what we call inventory. Why? Because anybody can pull these orders. If I put a sell limit here and a buy limit down here, at any given time, we can lift them, spoofing, manipulation, or people just put an order on their chart and, oh, the wife's calling, I'm going to cancel it, I'm going to take the call, and you just don't take an order, right? It doesn't necessarily need to be market manipulation. It's just the intent. We call this the intent of the market. The intent is the order book. Once an order gets executed in the inside bid and ask, right here, it then moves down to the time and sales. Okay. When it moves from the inside bid and ask and it actually takes liquidity, you then create what we call time and sales. Now, time and sales are going to track price, they're going to track size, and they're going to track type. They're going to tell you if it's a buyer or a seller, it's going to tell you the lot size, and it's going to track price. What we're doing is we're taking the order flow that gets executed in the depth of book that transfers to the time and sales. And then what happens is nobody sees it in here. Look at that. Nobody sees it in here. You're thinking, okay, what's going on in here? And that's where we all get like, okay, we're going to look at price candles, but nobody knows what's going on in here. And I'm here to tell you that, yes, you can do well as a trader. Of course, you can do well as a trader just trading price candles. There's a lot of people that do that. But you're blindfolded. You don't have an understanding of what's truly going on. So what we do is we transfer this information from here to here. We bypass this and we literally turn it into candles that will tell you what's going on inside of the market. Now, you can apply this to this time frame, which means you could turn these charts into this. I have it on a range chart just to show you smaller candles, but I could literally turn a 5-minute candle. Take a look here. I can turn the order flow onto any chart I want. Let's just go to a 5-minute. Let's just load one day. Okay. I'm going to turn off all my trades from today. And I'm going to just load the template. Now, don't worry. We've got templates for you with all the custom colors. And, you know, you really want to look at this stuff because it's important. Oh, wrong template. Sorry. We're going to load in here. Let's go here, right here, right here. We're going to load it. Give it a second to load the data. There it is. So now instead of looking at a 5-minute candle, right? I can tell you what's going on inside of the information. Now, we're going to teach you this right now. I'm going to show you how to make sense of this. But instead of me using a price chart where I can't see anything, I can now go into the data and I can actually show you the story of what's going on inside the 5-minute chart. If I'm going to trade a supplier demand zone setup, and I'm going to look at drop-based rally patterns, okay, or I'm going to look at reversal patterns, okay, let me explain something here. How many of you guys have been in my live streams for the last little while? How many of you guys remember today we talked about on the 5-minute, if I get an opportunity to get a drop and a base, I want to take the rally trade. How many of you guys remember me talking about this? It's just common sense. It's just what we were talking about just an hour and a half ago, okay? But what if I could tell you that inside of the base, I could tell you that the sellers were absorbed and there's no more of them? What if I could tell you in the base that when we take the buy trade, we've got 10 times more probability on that trade? Would you not want to know that? I didn't take this trade today because we shut the room down at 11 o'clock. Look at this. We shut the room down here. Let's just go back to it. We're going to go in here and we're going to go bar by bar. I'm going to zoom out here so you can see the actual, just the patterns first. We're going to do this right there. We're going to go bar by bar. I'm going to turn the inventory off. You don't need to see it. Okay. I'm going to turn all my trades off because you guys don't need to see that either. Let's go bar by bar. Right there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to bring this candle bar down. There is the drop. Big drop, right? Do you guys see the base candle right here? You guys see that? Everybody tell me you can see this is a base candle. This is the drop from today's trade room. We were talking about it. There's the drop candle. Then there's the base candle. And we talked about if we get that set up, we want to buy that trade going this way. This signal right here tells me that all of the sellers from here and inside of this bar are done. They're absorbed. They're absorbed. And so if I got a trade set up and I had an opportunity to trade the 5-minute candle like this without having to guess what's going on inside the base, I know that when I take this trade, knowing I have this on negative delta, there's an explosion coming. An explosion. Boom. And that just gives you complete follow through. Then we get another setup. Boom. Take a look at this. Explosion. These order flow signals on the flush reversal, which are proprietary to us, flush reversals are absorption signals. And when you get them, you need to sit at the edge of your chair because shit's about to get real. And I'm being really honest with this because there's a lot of order flow signals that are garbage. And there's some that are just really, really, really unique because we have a handle on what it's telling you. Okay, let's go back over here and take a look at the order flow signal that we missed this morning. Remember we talked about this because I didn't want to trade it into the highs. Remember I told you that we had delta lining up on the 5-minute for those of you that are with us today. Okay, now if you weren't in my trading room, you wouldn't have heard me talk about this. I was on the live streams while Jeff was crushing it in the market. And we're going to talk about some of the other stuff that Jeff was doing here as well. Big drop in price. Base candle right here. Delta divergence, which means price was going lower. Okay. Price made lower lows in price and then closed up on positive delta. This is an opportunity that when this candle closed, we should have got in right away, not on the high. And in the trading room, I could not see that because I did not have the ability to see the data inside that candle. Okay. So this is what I mean by going in and actually having alpha on the trades that you would normally take. So it had confluence. Yes, it did. Right. So you can see it's all blue down here. Absolutely. Had wicked confluence, right down here. Now, let's talk about this for a second, because I'm just looking at a 5-minute chart and we're going to get into a lot of different stuff here. Okay. We're going to do a lot of cool stuff here with the order flow signals. Okay. What the software is designed to do is it's auto scaling to your mouse. All you need to do is zooming in and zooming out. Okay. We're going to zoom in by using the mouse, and you can zoom out by zooming out. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to basically use the mouse to be able to control if you want to actually see the order flow. Why is this important? Because a lot of times when you apply order flow to the chart, you don't necessarily need to see it all the time. What I like about the way we design this is so that if you zoom in, you can actually see what's going on. And if you don't want to look at the order flow, you can just zoom out and look at the candle. That allows you to be able to basically identify key areas without having to look at the tape all the time. Okay. Now, why is that important? Is because some traders are not just looking at order flow. They're going to be looking at patterns like we are inside of the rooms. And then when you need to go into the data, okay, when you go into the data, you then basically can just zoom in. Now, I'm going to show you a little bit of how many of you guys want really, really, really sexy hidden gems? Yes? How many of you guys would like to know what an unfinished auction is? How many of you guys know what unfinished auctions are? Anybody here know what an unfinished auction is? Well, I'm going to teach you because it's amazing. Okay. Now, when you have a candle, you have a bar. And that bar is like this. Think of it like this. Okay. And what we're doing is when buyers are buying the market, they're going to buy and they're going to push the market this way. When sellers are selling the market, they're going to sell and push the sellers this way. That's why we've got blue on the right for buyers, red on the left for sellers. Okay. Now, if you take a look in a healthy auction, okay, on a healthy auction, you're going to see a 0 on one side of those charts. That means at the top or at the bottom, you're going to see normal execution in the tape. Whenever we have a candle that closes, but there's numbers on both sides of the auction, we call that an unfinished auction. It doesn't happen all the time. It's not supposed to happen all the time. It's a gift. It's a gift. When you see them, pay attention. They work exceptionally well on time charts. Write this down. If you're looking at a 5-minute chart or a 1-minute chart, look at this. I am going to spend all week, Jim's going to spend all week, and we're going to teach you things that you didn't even know existed. Look at the 15 and look at the 82. No, you don't need to memorize that. You don't need to understand that. You don't even need to identify it. Our software is going to draw a nice dotted line. And that dotted line will appear at the close of that candle way up here, which means if price came all the way back down to test it, Why is it testing it? Like, that's not an accident that just happened. That's an unfinished auction, which means there were orders over here that didn't get filled. They didn't get filled. So when the market touches them, there's going to be massive reactions. Look what happened over here on the next candle. This is a strategy in and of itself, a very, very, very good strategy. And you don't need big stops. It either is going to react right away or it's not. You can trade with very, very tight risk, size up, have a 2-to-1 trade. You could literally have a 2 or 3 tick stop with a 6 tick target and go in with massive size on these trades. For those of you that love scalping with very, very tight risk. Look at the 20, look at the 19, not a zero. That unfinished auction was there for a while. Let's continue. Take a look at this auction. We're gonna draw a line in the sand so that we don't lose that unfinished auction right here. Okay, we're gonna just draw that. Now let's take a look at this. We had an unfinished auction here. The market came up, it came all the way down, got stuck on the auction, came all the way up. Look at the unfinished auction up here. This is when you know the market's going from level to level. That's a short. The market closed right here. Okay. The market closed right here. This is a down candle. And then it basically opened right here. It went all the way up to fill the auction and dropped. These are bar none amazing trades. Bar none amazing trades. Like, these are, look what happened on this unfinished auction right here. We're just going to keep going, keep going. Remember this line, we drew this here on purpose. Let's continue back. Wow, like, come on, guys. Can everybody see this? Anybody here missing that? Unfinished auctions, baby. And you put that on a striker level? Holy cow, man. Bye-bye. Now, I do not suggest you do this on every bar type. I suggest you do this. Look at this one. This is an untested auction right here. I'm telling you, at 5,900, if we can get there during this presentation, that is a killer trade. Everybody here, take a screenshot of that. Watch 5,900 when they come back to test the S&P. I'm telling you, baby, this is going to be wicked. Okay. Everybody like what we're seeing here? Type a yes in the chat box. You guys are loving this. I just want to know where your head's at. Okay. Now, there's a lot of other stuff that's going on in the print. We're going to I just like to go into strategies. I want to talk about trade setups for a little bit. Okay. Let's talk about this for a second. I'm going to unpin these. I'm going to close these off. Yeah, let's do this. Let's take a look over here. Let's do this. Let's put this here. We're going to unpin it. Yeah. And we're going to basically do this. Patience. We're going to put this here. I'm just going to give us some more screen real estate, guys. And we're going to bring this over just like that. Okay. Now let's talk a little bit about this. I'm going to turn striker off so we don't have to worry about seeing the options levels for today. It's a different conversation. Okay. Now let's go through this for a second. I can control everything in the histogram. I can control everything in the bar volume profile. So let's talk about the bar volume. We have two subsections of volume in here. And what we've done is we actually have bid and ask volume, which is the volume profiles inside of the footprint. But then we also have total volume, which is basically total volume. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to basically come in here and we're going to be able to see the bid and ask volume. And we're also going to see the total volume for the bar. If you don't want to see the volume, you can turn it off. If you don't want to see that, you don't have to, right? It's not like it needs to be there. These are tools that allow you to be able to look inside the data on the candle, right? Let's talk a little bit about supplier demand for a second, okay? Take a look at this demand. I'm going to turn the inventory off. We're going to go over here. What we do is we highlight the imbalances when we have aggressive market orders hitting the print. And when this candle is going up and down, up and down, up and down, at the close of this bar, okay, at the close of this bar, if you see these imbalances, it's going to create what we call a demand zone in the tape. Okay, this is not a supplier demand zone like the patterns I'm teaching you in the live streams. This is order flow demand. Price comes up, down ticks it, and goes. Now, there's two types of trading this way. Bar close, which is what these zones are designed to do. These will fill on bar close. This is a demand zone that is untested. This is a demand zone that is untested, okay? So you're going to see here that that demand zone came from this pivot. So if I come inside of this candle here for a second, we're going to go into the data. There was massive market orders that hit the print to create that demand zone, okay? Now, like I said, we have what we call proprietary freezing the tape. And if we want to freeze the tape, okay, we can go into that and we can go into the information. Now, Jeff, I think Jeff is here. He's head of DevOps. Jeff, are you here? Make sure that your mic is on. Catching him off guard here. You know, it's throwing me in the... Do we turn the freezing of the tape on inside the drop down or inside the main settings?
I'm here.
Can we turn on the freezing of the tape inside the settings here or inside the actual main settings? When we want to freeze the order flow tape.
I can answer that. You can do both. You can do it either way.
And where is that in here?
Yeah. So if you go to the signals.
Perfect. Let's go into signals.
And then go to stacked imbalance. Let's make sure you got them on. Enable them. And then freeze the tape.
So what we're going to do now is does it show you the historical freezes as well?
No.
Okay. So when this happens.
If you refresh, it will.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. Let's refresh the chart. I'm going to refresh this. Now this is cutting edge stuff, guys. We're going to get right into this. And this is very important. Okay. Let's take a look. All right. So you see this signal right here? This is the difference between leading and lagging order flow. Okay. So if all you ever did was get this software for this alone, you are in a different level. I'm going to turn off the zones for a second in a minute. Inside of a bar, let me grab a, let's do this. Inside of a bar, okay? And this is very important for all of you order flow enthusiasts. This is very, very, very important you understand this. Inside of a candle, things are going to happen intra-bar or bar close. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? I want to make sure that we got a group here that understands the difference between things happening intra-bar or at the close of a candle. For 10 years, every single order flow software in the world that we studied and we knew and we built and we looked at operated on bar close logic. So bar close logic will create these supply zones or these demand zones based off what we call stacked imbalances. When the bar closes, supply appears. Does everybody understand this? Yes or no? I want to make sure that for those of you that are kind of understanding with me, okay? Now let me go back to, would you like to get in with the smart money or with the rest of the world? Type an SM if you want to be a part of the smart money group. This is a real question because I know most people just assume it. SI stands for stacked imbalances. And when we freeze the tape, do you notice how there's no order flow here? We stop the print. Now, why is that important? Well, let me explain it. If I'm looking at this candle in real time, and I get a stacked imbalance signal happening in real time, and it gives me the supply right here in the print. If you have freezing the tape turned on, it's going to say, hey, wake up, Mr. Trader, get in now and take the short here versus waiting for the bar to close, then putting the supply on the chart and then waiting for price to come all the way back up and take the retest. What stacked imbalances do is it allows you to get in when the market is actually creating supplier demand versus, look at this. Nothing is better than this. Nothing is better than freezing the tape. Like, out of all of order flow existence, nothing is better than freezing the tape. Why? Let me explain something. In the life of this candle, if you've got freeze the tape turned on, as soon as these three big orders came in here, it'll freeze the tape. You're going to get the stacked imbalance signal intra-bar. You enter here. You enter here as it happens, and then it pushes up. You don't necessarily want to wait for the market to close and retest, because in many cases, it's just going to keep going. And why is this important? Because you're no longer waiting for the reactive trade. You're getting in on the proactive trade. And that way you're basically trading order flow as it's happening versus as it's not happening. Let me explain something here. Okay. Let's go in and take a look at this. Stacked imbalance. Okay. Let's take a look at this. In this scenario, market's coming down. Pulls up, pushes up, gives a pullback, coming down, coming down, coming down, coming down. This candle closes. Okay. When this happens, okay, when this happens, instead of waiting for the bar to close down here and then seeing the supply zone because this confirms itself, our software will stop the order flow in the bar. It'll give you a signal. You get short as soon as that signal happens because it freezes the order flow, and then you get the push down. This is a day trader's, and this is a day trader's dream. This is you're getting in as the tape is breaking into the market, not as the market is happening. And there is no other software in the world that does this except for ours. I know this because we've studied every single order flow tool that ever existed in the history of trading on every platform in the world. I promise you, if you don't believe me, give me an email. I'll give you a list of every software in the world that does order flow. I have it. Why did we do this? Because we were seeing that regular imbalances are lagging. And if I have an opportunity to get in here with my stop here versus waiting for this to close and then wondering, am I going this way? Am I coming back up to retest? I'm already out of the trade where the rest of the world is looking at, oh, there's a supply zone and we may never get back up to this imbalance. Does this make sense to you guys? I know that's a lot to take in, but I'm telling you, this is a game-changing resource. Game-changing resource. Now we're going to go back into the signals, into the imbalances, turning off freeze the tape. I'm going to refresh the chart. This is wow. This is wow stuff. Yes, this is definitely wow stuff, William. Yes. Okay. Now, let's talk about this for a second. Let's talk about using data to make the decision. If I have a demand zone here, okay, does everybody see that this was a demand zone created from the imbalances? This is a demand zone. This is a demand zone in the print. Does everybody see this? There's another demand zone here. Everybody naturally will want to put a buy limit right here, hoping they're going to catch it and it's going to give us a reaction. Okay. Some traders are going to say, I want confirmation, but they're not going to be able to get confirmation because they don't have any data. Instead of buying this candle, which would have got you stopped out, we have the ability to turn on the signals. Now, remember what I said by stacking signals. This is not stacked imbalances. This is called stacking patterns. This candle has two different order flow signals on this bar. So if we know that we've got demand here, The market trades in, boom, 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 boom. We get a rotation on the candle. It's met with proper order flow signals. We get long here versus holding on to the heat. This is called using data to stack probabilities in your favor. And look what happened. Remember we talked about this? Remember what I said earlier? I said, if you get a volume divergence signal, which is what VD stands for, flush reversal is the key here. You're getting a flush reversal. This tells us you're getting absorption. What does absorption mean? You're getting an up candle on negative delta and you're making lower lows. Everything in here is screaming, sellers are done. But what's interesting is they come back to test the volume. In that little cluster, this little black sign in here, this is volume. Price closed here, all the volume was down here, which is where the orders are going to fill most easily. The market needs to go where the market fills orders. You can enter on bar close, or you can enter on the volume cluster retest. Both are very valid entries. But the key is that you're already in a level of demand and you're waiting for the market to trade, give us reversal signals with a clear place to enter the trades. And then what ends up happening, you time your entries properly. You're no longer guessing on a candle. Let's go here. Let's go to the signals. Volume divergence, flush reversals, delta divergence. And if we turned off the volume clusters, this is what everybody else is looking at. Nobody knows what's going on here. Nobody knows that this isn't going to keep going. They're going to put a limit order here and they're sitting there, oh my God, I hope it works. We can go inside the data. We can turn on our favorite signals and we come into the signal stack. We can put flush reversals on and we can put delta divergence on, or we can just go volume divergence. We turn the volume clusters on, which are basically telling us the volume inside the candle. And now you've got the big boy trades. You've got amazing confluence of trades. Does this make sense to you guys? The whole point is the signal stack at the areas of interest. It's all about the signals at the trade locations. Okay, let's go on and turn striker on. Let's go on and turn striker on. Let's go on and turn off supplier demand. Let's go here and table. Give me a second, guys.
It's in the imbalances.
Thank you, sir. All right. Striker. How many of you guys are using striker options levels, looking at the key areas? Okay. If I've got a striker level, how many of you guys are looking at option levels right now? Okay. If I've got striker levels here and here, okay, I'm going to extend those bad boys. Why? Now we're getting into location. Now we're getting into, we do not take the trade on anything unless we have confluence. Okay. In a buyer's market, which we are in a buyer's market today, right? We're in a buyer's market. What we want to do is we want to look for areas where the market comes into those locations, closes above these locations, gives us the signals on the levels of interest. Does everybody see this? We're looking for the order flow signals so that you can ultimately identify better odds at any location of support or resistance. Now, you could definitely fade these right here. Like this was a short, came up into resistance. He could have got short in here. That's a scalp. Stops above the high of the bars. That's a 1-to-1 trade. Come down to support, 1-to-1 trade. It's amazing confluence. The concept is, look, you come up to these areas of resistance. Look, we're not touching these. We didn't touch the level. That's not a trade. You get up here at the level of resistance. What do you see? instead of entering as prices going through it, look at this. Instead of entering as prices trading through this, you wait for the bar to give you stacked signals, flush reversal, volume divergence, nice short off the entry, one-to-one target. You're getting paid as a prop trader. Like it's as good as that. Right here, price came down. Now this is for scalpers. I'm on a range chart, right? I'm going to go back to the 5-minute and we're going to talk about some things, okay? Let's talk about this for a second. Coming back down to support. Look, you got stacked signals. You got flush reversal, volume divergence. These are really, really powerful trades. Like if you could just take flush reversals, just write this down, plus volume divergence equals F yeah. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say it. Like it's just ching ching, money ain't a thing. Why? Because they're very, very high probability flip trades. When you get these range flip trades, you get on a level, when you get 2 back-to-back things like that, damn it. Like, and this is really, 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 really high probability setups. Okay. Take a look. Now we didn't get 2 on these bars. We didn't get 2 on these bars. So if you're somebody that wants to stack the odds, right? Take a look. Level 2. That's the better trade. That's the better trade. Level 2. That's the better trade. That's a good one-to-one target right there. One-to-one target. One-to-one target. Right? Now this, I wouldn't do a one-to-one target. We do not have stack signals. I would not be taking that. And I would not be selling into a buyer's market, especially on one signal. Okay. Does everybody understand this? Let's go down here and try to find some stack signals on support or resistance. Okay. I'm going to come in here. Let's go in here. Stack signals. Coming off a level of support right here. Boom. Nice trade in here. Look at this. Stacked signals. I love this trade. Flush reversal, volume divergence, bam. This is very, very, very powerful. If you just look for, and you can get it where you get multiple. You can have even more. Very, very critical here that you guys pay attention to stacking the signals. That's why we call it the signal pack, so that you can come in here and you can turn on the signals that you want, right? Very, very powerful. Does everybody understand that? Give me a yes. Now let's go back into the 5-minute for a second. I want to talk about this. Okay, let's go back into the 5-minute. Okay. Here's a great example of looking at data. Okay, we're going to go in here. Here's a great example of, you get a supply zone, okay, right here. You get a supply zone in that candle. Do you see how we traded through it? Do you guys see how we traded through it? Okay. Sure, they work very, very well. But if you were freezing the tape, we're going to go back to freezing the tape, baby. I'm telling you, this is where it's at. We're going to go into the bid-ask imbalances. We're going to go into the signals. We're going to go to the imbalances. We're going to enable freeze the tape. I'm going to refresh this. Watch this. You do not need level 2 for this. No, you do not. Holy moly. Let's just talk about that for a second. This is the power of freezing the tape, guys. This is the power of freezing the tape. So when you see this, okay, when you see this, and it comes down, you get this massive bar coming down here like this, okay? Essentially, this signal happened here, which means you could have traded this all the way short from that trade rather than wait for the retest of supply. And that is the difference, okay? Let's go back and take a look at this on the 5-minute chart. Let's go. This is really what I want you guys to pay attention to. Do you see here? Look at this. You see this candle? This is where I'm going to stack some probabilities in your side, and I'm going to teach you how to understand what the data is telling you, okay? If I'm in a buyer's market, okay, take a look at this. As this candle was trading, a bunch of big orders came into the print. If you freeze the tape turned on, it's going to stop this. See, there's no more orders in the bar there. Okay. You can enter here long and trade it all the way up. Everybody else in the world that's looking at order flow is waiting for that to close, waiting for the retest, and hoping that the retest holds. When you are getting in here, when the big boys are pumping the orders into the market, this is the difference between retail and understanding the data. Does everybody understand that? Same thing happened here in a buyer's market. Okay, in a buyer's market, this candle comes in here. Okay, remember, we're not trading any sells. If we're in an uptrend, we're looking for this to happen in a buyer's market. Why? Let's just use common sense here, because you're going to see that there may be some stops on the sell side, but all of the buyer's market. Okay, now let's just go and look for the SI. The SI, the bar will freeze in real time, Herbert. Absolutely. So let's just go in here and let's just turn off all of the other signals. This is so fun. Flush reversals. We're going to turn off volume divergence, delta divergence, stacked in, I think, yeah, SI. That's how we're doing. So let's just talk about the SI signals for a second. Okay, this is very, very, very important. What is the direction of the market? I want you to write this down. In uptrend, we'll just say a 5-minute chart because I use a 5-minute in the live streams. Okay. Let's say I got an 8 greater than the 13 EMA. Okay. In a downtrend. Okay. On the 5-minute, I got the 8 is less than the 13. Yeah. Does everybody understand that? For in these trades, this is a gift, guys. I'm going to give you alpha right now. When bullish, look for green SI signals. It's that simple. Okay. When bearish, look for red SI signals. Okay. Now let's just use common sense here. Today we've been in a bullish market all day. Yes. Everybody knows that. If you put those EMAs on the chart, you're only looking. So which color should I be looking for? Should I be looking for green or red? Green, baby. Green on the screen, as my old friend Gilbert S. would say. Okay, green. Now let me show you what that looks like from the start of the day. From the start of the day, 9:30. We're going to go bar by bar. Okay, and this is what I mean by stacking the alpha in your side. As soon as this happened, as soon as the tape freezes, it's going to freeze in real time. You're entering long. Now, you're not going to trade the open, so we're not going to close that. You're already trading an opening range break. So on a 5-minute candle, right, that was the opening range, right? Interesting enough, for all of you opening range traders, orb one and done, baby. If you're sitting here and that's your orb, and you've got the one and done forecaster on, okay, how many of you guys using the one and done forecaster? Type a yes in the chat box. How many of you guys looking at the one and done? Everybody here is looking at the one and done. That's just like, you got to be looking at it, okay? If you knew that this was the 5-minute opening range and you seen that right as the market's getting ready to break, that's very, very bullish. How many of you guys were in the live stream today with me? We couldn't see that under the charts because I didn't have it on my charts. I couldn't tell you what was going on in that 5-minute candle because I didn't have order flow on my charts. Do you understand the narrative on that? That's a long signal right here. Just buy that. Okay. Now, if you're waiting off the open, let's go to the next signal. Let's talk about this for a second. This candle closed here. And it opened right there. And then right away, big money came in on the tape. Your entry is here. Everybody else in the order flow world will wait until the bar closes, and then they got to wait for a retest. Well, shit, you may never get back down there. Instead, you're taking the long and you're riding that bad boy all the way up. I'm telling you, this is a trading system by itself. You put this on a 5-minute candle, you pick the direction, and you just trade stacked imbalances in the freeze tape mode, not on the non-freeze tape mode. Let's wait. We're not taking any sells, baby. We're looking for buys. Okay, here it is. Right at the top of this bar, this candle is going up, 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 up. As soon as it closes, or as soon as the freezing tape stops here, this candle is still going to go up and down, up and down. You'd be long right here. Just looking at the freezing of the tape, bingo, bango, and it rips. Freezing of the tape. Okay, let's continue on. Let's continue on. Let's wait for freezing of the tape. Okay. Here. This would have been a stop out. I'm not going to sit there and pretend that everything is perfect. Let's keep going. This was one stop. We had a bunch of wins. Let's keep going. Here's the next bar. Well, I mean, your stop loss is dependent on how big your stop is, but I'd be putting my stop very tight to this. I'm not looking for a big stop on these. Let's continue down. As soon as this candle hit that imbalance right here, boom, you're long right here. Okay. You could have been profitable on that trade alone on the 5-minute. Okay. Or just waiting for the next rotation. Okay. You do not need to wait for big moves. That's a 5-minute chart. How many ticks do you need a profit? You see this, you're entering along here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 ticks on the S&P. That's a 4-point move off that imbalance. You're not holding on here where everybody else is waiting for the demand retest. Do you know how many order flow traders are looking at those demand zones and getting stopped out and crushed because they're not freezing the tape? Smart money's getting along here, driving the candle up. Retail's here, getting smoked. And I'm here to share this with you because we spent a lot of time on this, a lot of time. Let's continue. How many of you guys are seeing the magic on freezing the tape mode? Like on a 5-minute chart, this is insanely accurate. Insanely. Even if you're trading the Renkos with Jeffrey and you're using a range bar or you're using whatever hocus pocus stuff you've got on your screens, if you just load one market, S&P or NASDAQ, trade the freezing of the tape intra bar on a 5-minute, you'll pay for this software tomorrow. You're blind and you see it, Lance. Exactly. The software will do it for you. Guess where we're long? Right here. Boom. Massive, massive trade. Wowzers. That seemed to do pretty good. Okay. Now, look at that. Look at that trade. Like long. Okay. Now, let me explain a few things. If you're understanding the freezing of the tape, you're long here. You could have been out on this bar before it closed down here. Do you understand that? You don't even need to be in it for this. You could be. You could be out as it's pumping up because you're long here. Up, 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 up. Your stop loss literally goes 4 or 5 ticks below that because it's an imbalance trade. Take a look here. Next trade to the upside. Look at this. The next trade to the upside is here. You get the imbalances. Okay. All the way up. Push. Coming in here. You could have been all the way up on this as well before it dropped. These are 5-minute charts. These are like 3 and 4 point legs in the S&P. That's really, really, really accurate day trades. Let's continue down. Let's look for more freezing of the tape. I'm interested in the longs only, right? I'm interested in the longs only. Let's look for the green SIs. Here it is. Holy shit. There it is. Like we already talked about this trade, but you already get the math. I have only seen one stop loss all day on the 5-minute chart. You guys can see the math here. Like I'm not here to try to sell you the sizzle here. I'm here to show you where the magic is. Let's keep going. We didn't get any more. No more freezing. Whoa, there it is. There it is. Like that's, and there's a lot of these trades, by the way, guys. There's a lot of these trades, which means it's a repeatable edge that happens every single day because aggression steps into the market. The problem is everybody's waiting till after the bar closes to take that trade, which it's a coin toss. You might get the reaction. It might just stop you out instead of going along here and going like this, whoop, making the profit there before it came back to close. Does everybody understand this? Let's keep going. Oh, here we go. Happened again. How many wins have you seen today on the S&P? Freezing of the tape. Holy shit. You guys do the math. How many? You got a 5-tick stop and a 10-tick target. That's 2-to-1 on almost every single trade. Does everybody see this? Like these are big, big moves. Okay, let's continue down. Keep going. Came down to that really sexy unfinished auction. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. And we're here. What an insanely crazy day. Jeff, do we have the ability to turn off the short signals and only see the long signals, or is it all signals on or off right now?
Yeah, now we don't have that feature. Sorry.
Can we add that in V2? Get the guys. So what we can do is if a trader only wants to basically have longs or shorts, they can choose only see the long signals. It'll be good to add that in. Just so that way, if you are long bias, you're not getting, it's nice to see them both so that way you can understand it. But yeah, how many of you guys see them? Yeah, how many of you guys see the magic in what I just showed you? Just on stacked imbalances alone, freezing the tape. Like the AMA tomorrow is going to take hours to go through all of this. I'm trying to use the hour here with you guys very efficiently because I want to be able to show you the best way to really, really do big things, right? And for me, moving forward inside of the live streams and inside of Jeffrey's room, we haven't even talked about how to use the confluent signals. We haven't talked about how to read the heat map down at the bottom. I want to give you setups that are so wildly profitable that anybody can just trade them immediately, and then everything else just becomes a fun learning experience for order flow. How many of you guys would agree if you just looked at stacked imbalances and unfinished auctions and stacked signals? What does that mean? I'm going to write this down. I'm going to give you Pandora's box here so that everybody out the gates just does exactly monkey see, monkey do, right? I'm here to help. Watch this. This is the golden key, right? This is the golden key to prop trading. I'm telling you this, mark my words, watch this. Number 1, stacked imbalances, freeze the tape, only with 5-minute trend. Only with 5-minute trend. Why? Because when the big money kicks in, you're going to see the explosions. You're not going to see that on a 1-minute. You're not going to see that on a range chart. You're going to see it on a chart that big traders can enter their orders in. Okay. That is the golden trade right there. Number 2. Okay. What we're going to look for is we're going to look for unfinished auctions. Okay. On a 5-minute chart. I can't tell you on other time frames because I haven't tested it. Just take my lead on this, load a 5-minute chart. Do you really care what time frame you're trading if the unfinished auction shows you where the trade is? Nobody cares. All you care about is making a lot of money and having alpha. Okay. The third one here is stack signals. Okay. You're going to look for flush reversal plus, you're going to look for flush reversal plus volume divergence. Okay. And you're going to look for these flushed reversal plus vol div. And you're going to do those at areas of interest. So only at support, resistance, and you're going to do those on range bars or Renko bars on the flip of the bar. That is a killer trading plan. Honestly, I'm going to tell you right now, you don't need to do all 3 of them, but those 3 things are going to give you so much confidence in order flow that you're not going to even need to use all the rest of it. Like if all you did every day was say, I'm going to wait for the direction, I'm going to freeze the order flow and take the imbalances intra-bar. When I get an unfinished auction, I'm going to trade it like no tomorrow because it's a very rare and a very high probability trade. And then if I want to scalp on the flip trades, I can. This is the key, guys. Now, there's a whole lot more, like Jeffrey's going to have his edge. Jim's got his edge and stuff. But I trade the 5-minute and the 1-minute charts. And I really, really, really want to be able to understand the details coming into this data. Does everybody understand where I'm going with this? Yes or no? I also like to trade the 5-minute because if I'm trading big size on big prop accounts, I want to get in with orders without slippage. That's why I trade a 5-minute chart and I don't sit there. Yeah. What would you recommend on non-trading days? I don't understand the question, Hector, because you're only trading on trading days. Well, we already built a freezing of the tape algo on Ninja. It was amazing. Yeah. So I have so much left to share with you, but it's impossible for me to do this in one webinar. Like it really is. Tomorrow we have a mastermind AMA, and this is it really is a mastermind. Like it is going to be a deep dive of literally everything in here. Is Jim still here? Did he take his kids? Jim's here? Not sure if he is or not.
He's gone, but I'll be here.
Okay, perfect. So Jim's going to be breaking down each of these sections one by one, feature by feature. The user documentation on this, like we haven't talked about the heat map. We haven't talked about the table. Like we don't need to see the table. Like if you don't want to look at all the data, you don't have to. It really depends on what you're looking for. If you want to look for confluent signals, okay, take a look at confluent signals. Confluent signals are when everything else lines up. So let's turn off the stacked imbalances. Let's turn off bar direction, right? Let's turn off everything, okay? And just look at confluent signals, okay? Like confluent signals in the direction of the market, okay? In the direction of the market. Now you tell me what you're seeing here, okay? I only see one stop out. I only see one stop out. Does everybody see what I'm seeing? Confluence trades are the easiest trades to trade in the direction of momentum. CO, these are all pre-market. CO off the open, you're probably not going to trade that. Confluence, this was the stop. Confluence, confluence, confluence. Okay. Now, I'm a big believer of what I just shared with you on the other side of it. My favorite trades are going to be these ones because I have a lot of experience watching these trade setups. Okay. So take that and use that. Okay. Now, that was a lot to take in on a demo. Yes or no, you guys? How many of you guys think that's great? Yes or no? How many of you guys are impressed by what we've done on that? You see it? How many of you guys can see the magic? Okay. Now, for me, it all boils down to data. Okay. It all boils down to making money. Okay. How many of you guys are learning in our trading rooms right now in our live streams? Yes or no? How many of you guys would agree that we know a little thing about trading? We got our head spinned on correctly. It's not just about selling products. It's not just about tools and gadgets. We're actually using the tools we're trading with. Yes? Okay. I truly want everybody to have an edge in the market. That's why we bring out cutting edge software. We're not just selling a MACD here with a little bit of a squeeze indicator on it, right? Like we've got alpha in the striker, alpha in the one and done stats forecaster. This is unheard of alpha when you freeze the tape and you can go inside the order flow and stop the market. Imagine being able to stop the market. Like, I think that's something that's really cool here is that when you freeze the tape, you could really say, I'm stopping the market so I can enter the trade. Right? Like that is what everybody dreams of doing with order flow. Okay. We built this to solve your problems. Everybody in here has different problems. Some of you are late to entries. Some of you don't trust your signals. Some of you just want more confidence in the levels that you're trading. Everybody's going to have their own opinion on this. I know my take on it, and moving forward, I will never look at another chart without it. Now, here's the key, okay? You say, why haven't we done this before? Because we didn't have it finished. There'd be no way I would be trading anything without being able to look at the data inside of Orderflow, period. If I'm going to trade the market, I need to trade with an edge of accuracy inside the data. Moving forward, I'm always going to be using Orderflow on my charts. Why? Because it's built now. It's available. This is the fun part. This is the exciting part. Okay. So the Orderflow signal pack, we've identified the problems. I've showed you a copious amount of proof in the pudding. It's really up to you if this is something that you want to get your hands on and start leveraging for your own safety. I think it's a good word to use is safety, because it will make you a safer trader. And I think that's a pretty serious thing, right? Your money's at risk every single day, and this puts your money in a level of safety that you cannot do without it. Now, we're going to give away a license, as we always do, okay? And we're going to rock and roll this, okay? Now, I'm going to go back, poll, baby. Let's see who wants the poll. License, Tickblaze. Give me 1 second, guys. 1, 2, 3, let's go. You got to fill it in the poll. I want to make sure that everybody here gets access to an opportunity. Remember, if your name gets drawn and you purchase the software, we'll just send you a refund. It's very easy to refund that. Yep. Lady luck, baby. And luck of the Irish, they say. All right. We've got 70 people enter the poll. That means 30% of you can get stacked entries. Absolutely, Doug. Everything is there. It's all stacked. Absolutely. All right. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Done nice dinner. If you didn't answer it, be there, be square. All right. So for the giveaway. Yeah, we can stack your entries. Yep. You can take my notes. Absolutely. Alan, take the notes. 100%. Everybody do that. Take my notes. Here. 100%. You'll get a chance to see me do this in the live stream, which will be great. Okay. Very, very good. Yeah, no problem. Everybody can have it. You can watch the recording too and write it down if you want. Now, registered, you'll need to fill out the form. You need to register, etc. Okay. When you log in and you do not have Tickblaze, you can follow here and you can access the platform. So let me open this up for a second. This is for those of you that are new here. Okay. You can come in here, choose the hybrid. Why? Because we're getting rid of the 2 different versions in the future. It'll only be hybrid. Hybrid includes everything on the standard, which is this, plus algo trading. And you're going to want this because we have algos coming in the future. Now, why do you want the hybrid? Because it's everything. So just go with the hybrid. It's free. You don't have to worry about it. Now, we do charge a maintenance fee at the end of the year. So you don't even need to use, okay, you don't even need to use the platform after that if you don't want to. You can get it for an entire year. And if you say, hey, I don't want to use this anymore, you can cancel it. But if you're using all the tools and all the bells and whistles, the platform is free. Okay. And so ultimately, there is a $250 maintenance fee. It works out to being like 40 cents a day if you really reverse engineer that back, right? It's free. So that's if you do not have the platform. If you have the platform, okay, you're going to go to the link. I believe I got to go find the link. Give me a second here.
Yeah, you can just go up to the shop page,
There it
Sean,
is.
where you were there as well.
Sure. So if I come in here and I'm looking here, I can go to the shop page. I click it. I go to shop and I go here to indicators and strategies. Okay. And there it is, Orderflow signal pack. Okay. We're really building a star roster of trading systems. Like this is a fun year for us because we've got a lot of traders making a ton of money on these tools. And this is an amazing, amazing resource. So you click on it. It's already discounted down. Okay. You can go through the details. You hit add to cart, you check out. Everybody understand that? Give me a yes that everybody understands that. Pretty simple. For everyone here, if you have questions or if you don't have Tickblaze, just get it. Now, if you haven't been to our YouTube, you got to go to our YouTube. Like you got to go to the YouTube. The YouTube's where the magic's happening. If you're not in the trading rooms, you got to be on the YouTubes, right? That's critical. So we run live streams throughout the day. I've got a bunch of lives going on here. And then ultimately all your platform training and everything is down here under your tutorials. So if you're new to Tickblaze and you're going to use the tools, right? Absolutely. And then today we'll be posting the marketplace webinars up here, and we'll be adding those in. Yeah, so that'll be great for you guys to watch, right? Please be patient. For those of you who have requested callbacks, please answer your phone. Even if you don't know the number, answer it anything. Just don't say anything. Brandon will be like, hey, this is Brandon, right? If you don't answer spam calls, it may come up as spam because we use a Zoom number to call out. So just, yeah, just answer the phone. We can't help you if you don't answer, okay? All right, traders, have a fantastic day. For this one, Stephen, there isn't. No, just the pure infrastructure on this is so big. It's the biggest we could do. It was a 6-month build out on this one. Yeah. Yeah, 6-month build out. The amount of resources that it costs us to build this software suite is very, very heavy. This and Striker were very, very big lifts. Yeah. Yeah. All right, guys, traders, everybody enjoy your evening. Thank you. And we'll see you on the charts. Have a good one.